Hey, welcome back to an episode of Instagram Podcast. I'm your host, Juan. As always, my co-host here with me. Wait, hold on a second. Actually, my Trip's not here. Trip's dead. Actually, I have somebody else with us. I don't think I've ever done a show with you, right?
No, because you're the one who's usually tapping out.
Never done a show with her. This is Cierra. She's my wife. I'm her husband, and she's going to fill in for Trip because he's not feeling too good. Hopefully, he'll be back next week, or he'll be dead. So, and then it'll just be mine and your podcast. So, hey, say hi, Cierra.
Hi.
Yeah, sorry. She has no enthusiasm. She just got off work, making all the monies because I'm a bum and don't have a job, right?
Yeah, that's very true.
Okay. Before we get rolling, this week's topic, we're talking about Millennium Actress, directed by Satoshi Kon.
Mm-hmm.
He's a director who passed away, I think the early 2000s, something like that. He did stuff like Perfect Blue, Paprika, and then Paranoia Agent, which are things that I really like. This movie finally dropped on Prime. It's free on Prime if you have it. They also had some fan events this week, and by chance we decided to check it out. I've been wanting to see it for a bit, and we're going to get to talk about it. But first, hey, Cierra, how you doing? What's up? What's good? I came in and asked you how was work as soon as I saw you, and you just go, save it for the podcast. So, Cierra, how was work? How are you?
Work was good. Like I told you earlier, we got a new CEO. So last night, you and I, we went to my former CEO's retirement party thrown by the company that I work for. Mm-hmm. And so we celebrated, had some little appetizer snacks, mm-hmm. and I had a couple of margaritas, he had a couple of beers, and then we just kind of chat and hung out for a bit. And then, but yeah, so today was his first official day. He had actually been out in June to kind of get to know the company and see if this was the company he wanted to work for before he officially said yes.
But this is the first time like you've physically seen him.
Yeah.
Okay.
First time I physically have seen him.
So head to toe. Hottie, what's up? Naughty, what's up? Would you bang is the real question.
No.
Is it because you're happily married or?
No, I think it's honestly because like he really gives me a lot of Chico High HB vibes, like the way he looks.
No, you know what he does? Okay, so for people who don't know, I'm not gonna name drop or anything, even though he just did. One of our high school teachers.
Well, if they type in HB, it's not gonna pop up.
Don't say it again. One of our teachers from high school. I had him for geometry. You actually never had him, right?
No, but all my siblings did.
This is years after graduation. After I was graduating, it came to light that he was having a relationship with one of his students, mm-hmm. and he went to jail and he got registered as a pedophile, and it's this whole thing. And yesterday when we were at the going away party, I asked one of your coworkers, like, "Can I see a picture?" And they showed me a picture. And all I noticed was that he had a really big forehead. Yeah. But now that I think about it, he does kind of look like that old math teacher from our high school. Oh, bummer. Damn, that's a real boner killer right there.
So yeah, but I mean, like he seemed like a very great guy in the sense like it seems like he will be a good leader. His focus and what he went to like school for and
mm-hmm.
that he's well versed in and has his expertise in is sales and marketing. Okay. And so that's kind of an area that he's supposed to kind of like grow. That was kind of the reason why like our board hired him.
Okay. Maybe like that was like a weakest spot of your guys' team and like they wanted to build on it.
Yeah, because I mean, like, honestly, it would be helpful if we did have a CEO that knew more about, like, agriculture, farming, yeah. But CEOs like that are kind of few and far between mm-hmm. because most farms in the United States in general are kind of family-owned and operated. Yeah. Even if they're huge, they're still family-owned and operated. So, like, you know, the guy who's part of the family who's running the company isn't going to leave to go work. There, yeah, he's just going to stay there, and it's going to go to the next person in line in the family.
That makes sense as opposed to like working for big business. Or it's like I already have it set up here. Let's just do that. And I mean, CEOs, like you need a good knowledge of like business and stuff, right? Yeah. So a lot of CEOs end up working in places they never worked before. Like they'll be CEOs for tech stuff, and then they can go for like marketing, like retail stuff. It doesn't matter. Like it's just a job position. Kind of like, can you lead a business? Can you run a company? That's what the CEO is. But that's good. I mean, I think your marketing's fine. You were in Christian Teigen's pantry that one time in the background,
and all of the Kardashians.
And all the
pantries.
Kardashians, they like her olive oil. I think it's okay. I mean, whatever. So it's okay. So anyway,
like some of the companies that he worked for beforehand was like Cheetos and Tostitos, and he worked for Safeway growing their Signature Select brand, their store brand and stuff like that.
Cool.
But yeah, so when he was like addressing the whole company, because we had like a little like webinar webcam kind of thing, and he was introducing himself and kind of telling us a brief direction that he wants to take us. And when he was talking about that, there was like some things that he like said. I was like, whoa. I was like, that sounds intense.
Oh, man.
So like a couple of things that he did say that I found a little intense, like it made me a little bit nervous to like officially meet him, because after he addressed the whole company, me and my farm team that I'm a part of, we had a lunch meeting with him about an hour after that ended. And so I was like, I don't know what this guy's going to be like, especially when we're all in a room together and stuff like that. And especially when he said to everyone that
he wants to do these specific things. Yeah.
Yeah. And then that the farm area and the agriculture area is like his weakest thing and that he doesn't know anything about. But I think for that reason, he is just going to, with his knowledge and how he's going to structure things, I think he's going to help us structure things, but he's going to rely on us for
a lot of backing and stuff. Yeah.
Counsel and advice and stuff
like that.
Well,
at least he's able to admit he's not perfect at everything and has his weaknesses, and that's good, because worse than that would him showing up being like, I know everything about everything, and not him actually not knowing shit, and then just kind of leading you guys astray. Because I know it's been a struggle for you guys to find a CEO for a while and then like a vice president for a while. And it's just like,
yeah, before our current vice president came on board and officially took over, he was just like a temporary one, and then before that we were without one for a year, and then the years, I think within the 3 years before 2017, we had gone through 2 VPs already. Yeah. For our department, so it's just been a struggle finding someone that fits in with what we need.
I know you guys came here to talk about anime, but we're talking business talk right here. Business.
Well, that's in my life.
Olive oil business talk. Okay, that's where it's liquid gold, guys. Okay, cool. So, anything else that you've been doing lately, or anything fun besides meeting your new CEO and doing the core thing yesterday?
On Sunday at family dinner, I met my dad's Chinese exchange student.
Right. Okay. For people who don't know, Sierra's dad has for a while collected. He has housed foreign exchange students as a way to, he gets money from it, right? They pay him rent and stuff like that, but he also likes doing it.
Yeah, he gets a stipend.
He gets a stipend for them. But he's done that for years, for at least a while, right? And
yeah.
The reason I was kind of shocked when I heard that he did it again this year is because he has his house. I think it's 3 bedrooms, right? And then there's a little detachment, that's a studio, and your sister and her husband live there. Mm-hmm. Your dad lives in the house with your brother. Mm-hmm. And then after the Paradise Fires from last year, they started housing, your brother's fiance's family, right?
Yeah.
So that house is fucking packed. And I was like,
yeah,
they're putting someone else in there. I was super surprised for the kid. It was him, is this how all Americans live, Oh
yeah. And then my brother's fiance and her family, they live there. And then for a while, we also had someone who was living in a trailer out in the front.
Oh, they don't live in there anymore?
No, she recently moved.
That's good. What's the foreign exchange student's name?
I want to say his English name that he chose is Sam.
Nice.
Not 100% sure.
14, right? Freshman, something like that?
Yeah, but he's only here for 2 months. So, okay. And then he leaves.
But, yeah, I've liked some of the ones that you've had in the past. What was my favorite? I think I liked... Did I like Elliot? No. What was the name? Give me some of the names of the ones that were good.
Oh gosh.
What was the name of the one that was going to come back and decided not to, and said he went to a boys' school?
I can't.
I liked him a lot. I thought he was dope.
It's been a while.
Yeah, he's had a bunch. Anyways, it's cool. Good. What do you think of the kid?
I I mean, because we've had, like, my dad's had a couple where, like, they want to interact because they're basically here. I mean, not only to go to school, but because living in an environment where there's pretty much only English-speaking people, it helps them learn English. So that's pretty much the reason why they're here.
It jumpstarts their education for
to learn English.
His name was Elton. That's when I went.
Elton, yeah, that's what it was.
I was trying to. He's like the Elton John. That's why I remember it. Yeah. Cool. I mean,
but he was pretty soft spoken.
Yeah.
And then Ashley and Corey dragged him into playing a board game, but it was Catan Jr. So
okay. And he's like, he can handle it. Like, he's like,
well, yeah, because like he was like, oh, I don't know how to play, and they're like, well, we don't know how to play this version either. So because I didn't play.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They had just started like putting it all together when I decided to take Bella home.
I remember. That's funny you talk about Catan because the other day I was at home and I was like thinking about like, oh, I got Uno, for us to play with my mom, and we play Snakes and Ladders or whatever with her also. And I was like, oh, maybe start collecting some other board games. I like board games, right? And I was like, oh, maybe we should get Catan. I was like, I've never played it. And I was like, that's not true. I played it one time and I did really poorly, but I already forgot the rules. So maybe we'll get Catan Jr. We can try it.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Anything else besides that?
You and I saw 2 movies this weekend.
We did, yeah. We went to the movies. We went and saw Good Boy.
Good
Boys. It's kind of like a coming of age story of like these 3 boys, but it's like raunchy and they have like dirty jokes and stuff.
Yeah, because it's directed by Seth Rogen.
I thought it was. I don't think it is. It might be produced.
I think he said he was an executive producer,
but I thought he directed it. He didn't. I remember. So we watched the movie, and when we were leaving, like we're like the next movie we're gonna watch was what Scary Movies to Tell in the Dark, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
I knew what you're talking about.
We were gonna watch that whenever it was next, and then we get a phone call while in the car at Trip as we're leaving the movie theater, and Trip's just like, "Hey, you guys want to go see the movie tomorrow?" And we're like, "Sure." So we went back to back. Good Boys. I enjoyed for the most part. It wasn't like the best movie. There was a while where it was a lot of weird cuts where I felt like the kids were just saying like really outrageous lines, and then someone would just say another outrageous line. It didn't feel really like natural or fluid, and I feel like the kids probably weren't like the best kid actors in the world,
Yeah.
Like they said, be scared or scream or like say something outrageous, and they would do it. It was okay though. I enjoyed it for the most part. There was a lot of sex toys in it.
Yeah, a lot of sexual content.
Yeah. It was fine. But I don't think I'd recommend it to like everybody. Actually, when I was hanging out with Shannon for a bit, I went over to his house because Shannon's my nephew. I was there because his grandma on his dad's side is taking care of him because my sister and husband are on a cruise. I was helping her set up like a new app so they could talk over the phone and like get her Wi-Fi going. We were talking, and I think she's just like an older lady who's like alone, so she talked to me for like an hour. But
you and them old ladies,
yeah, they dig me. And then she said something like, oh, what do you guys? Have you gone into movies lately? And I said, yeah, I just saw Good Boys. And then she goes, oh my god, how is that? I've been seeing stuff about that. I've been wanting to go watch it. Is it good? I was like, yeah, I'm like, it's fine. It's a little inappropriate for like, the humor's kind of dark, dirty. And she goes, oh no, thank God you told me. I was planning on taking Shannon to go see this.
Oh my gosh. She just thought because there's like little boys in it that it would be like a kid's movie.
She thought it was going to be like, it's kind of like reminiscent of like the Goonies or like a Stranger Things kind of vibe. Like, I was just like, yeah, it's kind of like the Goonies, but if the Goonies were like really vulgar kids, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, like some of the Goonies, like in the Goonies, they do say like bad words.
Yeah, but not on the levels of like Good Boys.
No, and there's not like sex toys and stuff like that. I think the most sexual thing was like when Chunk in the Goonies knocks over like the little statue in the living room and the dick falls off of the statue, and then they glue it back on. Like, oh, you glued his dick upside down. He's gonna be pissing in his face.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then we saw like I said, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. You really wanted to watch it. I'm assuming you read the books when you were younger, right?
Yeah, when I was younger.
I never really read them. I actually kind of forgot about him, and then Trip maybe brought him up years later when we were talking, and he's like, check out this artwork. And I was like, that's interesting. Movie got announced. You were super hyped. I remember we had to watch it. And I was like, sure, I'll watch it. I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a lot better than it would be, and I liked it. It wasn't perfect. There were some corny lines, and there was like the ending I thought was kind of cheesy, kind of set it up for like a sequel. And
but it was like a kid's horror movie.
Yeah, but it was really scary too. Like there was some violent, people were dying. Some of the special effects were like really nice. Some of them were not the nicest.
Yeah.
My two complaints were like, I didn't know until we got the movies, but it's supposed to be around the Vietnam era of time, you know? So some of the clothes and the way people talked didn't really feel appropriate. Like they had like the old cars and stuff.
Yeah.
But besides that, I feel like it wasn't very accurate to the time, or at least visually. Like they didn't work that hard on costume design or anything.
Yeah.
They could have worked harder. That was the one thought I had. And the other thought was, here's a spoiler for the movie. I don't care if fucking skip ahead if you want to hear it. But like in the end of the movie, like we find out that one of the main characters, like the Mexican kid who's new in town or whatever, is a draft dodger. And, because he doesn't want to be a part of the war. He's scared, blah, 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 all this stuff. They end up beating the bad guy at the very end. And everyone's like, oh, they're hugging because they're super happy. And I'm like, oh, super great. And then back in my head, I was like, yeah, but Ramon still has to go to Vietnam. like he's still gonna probably die in the war, Yeah. And then there's a shot where like they're saying goodbye to each other and he's going on the bus. I was like, yeah, he's fucking dead. Like there's no way he's gonna make it. Like later, his brother had just died. I was like, oh, that's fucking shitty. And I was like, oh well, happy ending. Everything's over.
Yeah. Happy ending in quotations.
Yeah. So we did watch those two movies. That's right.
Yeah.
And you tried the margarita at the movie theaters.
Yes, I did try it, and it's by far my favorite out of the four. So I tried the margarita, I tried the strawberry daiquiri, and I also tried the pina colada. Pina colada so far is my least favorite. The only one I have left to try is the orange mango.
But you hate mango.
Yeah, I don't like mango, but I may still try it, even though I said I won't try it.
If you get it, and I'll just drink it if you don't want it, because I'll drink it.
Yeah, but then I'd still want another drink.
Then I'll go get you another drink.
Okay.
Our movie theater recently started selling alcohol, and every time I see it, I go, that's dumb. I'm not going to buy a stupid $6 beer. And then I always end up in line and I buy a $6 beer and I go, fuck me. I can't believe I did it again.
Well, I know, because I was in line. I was like, I'm going to get a margarita. Like, well, I'm not going to get a beer.
I'm going to get a soda, I said.
Yeah. And then I ordered my margarita. I was like, well, tell them what you want. And you're like, ooh, making all your faces. And then you caved and you got a beer.
I wanted a beer. I got a beer. I enjoyed my beer. It was a good beer. Okay, anything else you got?
No, I mean, this past week, Bella had 2 accidents, so that was not fun.
Yeah, that's our dog. We're still training her. We thought we had it down, pat.
Well, yeah, because she hadn't had an accident in a long time.
And then she fucked up.
Weekend, on Friday and on Sunday, she had
messed
2
up.
accidents.
Yeah. Yep, well, that's what it is, that's part of parenting,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what can I say that I've been doing?
Yeah, what have you been doing? You have to update me so the next time I run into your parents and they ask me, what's Juan doing today? I can at least give them something.
Yeah, Sierra went to lunch at my parents' restaurant and they asked what I was doing. And then you're like, I don't know, he's at home. And then my dad's like, he's taking care of the baby. And my mom's like, oh, that's nice. This is like a week or two after her sitting me down and being like, what are you doing with your life? Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I got married. He's like, yeah, but what are you doing now? Anyways, they don't respect me. They think I'm a bum. They undermine me at every turn. Every turn. I mean, besides the movies I watched with you, and dealing with the dog, I've been working on some animations. I got some feedback back from one of my former teachers who I really like. He sent me like a 4-minute video of like breaking down the stuff I sent him. So I've have this board in my office and I write down what I'm doing. So this week I can write down what I'm going to get done to get this project done in time. Also, I got hit up by a former college friend of mine. He actually dropped out, but he was he dropped our major because he wanted to make games, but he wanted to make more artistic games. He was more on the artsy fartsy kind of side. And he didn't really like the way that the game stuff ran in our major. I get it. People who joined our major want to do animation and they see that we're doing 3D animation and it discourages a lot of people because they're like, I want to do traditional hand drawing. And we're like, that's not what the thing is, So he changed his major to Japanese and then he just dropped out of college. I think maybe it was just, wasn't feeling it anymore. He lives in Red Bluff. And I see him.
I'm not too far then.
Yeah, he doesn't live that far away. So I think he posts stuff for a while on his Snapchat, like music that he makes odd music. He draws funny things. And I've always really enjoyed him because he's like very creative. Like he's like just an outlet of like this, like, I'm just making stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And then he kind of went away for a bit. I think he just got off all social medias, and I didn't really have a way to, contact him. But before he like turned off all his stuff, he said, hey, I'd love to talk to you some other time. Like, I'll hit you up whenever I can. I was like, yeah, sure, fuck it, whatever.
Yeah.
And then he came back to social media. He started posting stuff. And then last night, he hit me up. He says, hey, do you like RPGs? And I go, no, I don't. Like, I was like, you mean like video games? No. Like, I mean, I'll play them, maybe, whatever. I was like tabletop RPGs, like a D&D, sure. Like, I like those, And he goes, oh, bummer. I was like, why? What's the deal? He goes, I'm making this game or whatever. And he sends me this super long, like, Snapchat video. It's like broken up into pieces. Like, it's like this and like that. And he's
instead of like a selfie, instead of talking.
Yeah, just holding it right here. And he's playing like his music in the background, trying to get the ambiance right or whatever.
Oh, God.
Again, I totally super weird guy. But again, I get a super kick out of him. And he goes, yeah, I'll do this and that. And he goes like, would you be interested to work with me? And I was like, well, I thought about it for a bit. And I sent him back like a long like message. I wasn't going to videote myself,
In like what capacity? Like helping him with the animation?
That's exactly what I thought. I was like, what do you want? So like, I was like, look, man, like, I told him like, I super appreciate the way you work. I think it's great. I think you're super interesting. I love your creativity. Always enjoyed it. Love your music. Love your art style. All great. Like, super positive, right?
Yeah,
and they go, here we go. In between, I go, honestly, I have no desire to design a video game. Like, I'm not a game developer. Like, I do play games. I used to say I don't play games, but people have brought to my attention that I do play games. Like I play phone games,
Mm-hmm.
I play some games on like the PlayStation and some on the Switch now and then. It's like, but I don't consider myself a gamer,
Yeah.
I'm a speedrunner at heart, So I was like, look, man, I have no interest to be a game developer. And I was like, I want to make that very clear when I say that. I mean, I don't want to come up with what the game mechanic is, because you can polish up a game and there can be all this stuff, but at its core, there's a basic, like, this is what the game is. This is how you play it. You do this and that, and it does this, and those are like the rules. Like, I don't want to fucking do that. I had to take a class in that, like in college, like, I think like maybe 2 classes for that. And every time like I made a game and it just wouldn't work because like, I couldn't figure out how to get the rules to work right. Like it was either just I could make a game and it ended up being math, like this and that adds up, subtracts that equals this, and you could just break the game, right? Or I'd make a game that was too complicated, or a game that's too easy, or a game that was just not fun. I was like, I have no joy in doing that. And there's people who do enjoy that. I'm like, not for me. So if that's what you want, like I'm for sure the wrong guy. Also, can't code. So if you need a coder, for sure barking up the wrong tree. He's actually a really good coder though. I was like, if you want like animations, like if we're talking that, like, yeah, I'd be interested to do animations for you. Like, I just need to know how you're doing yours. Like, what is it like? Are we doing 3D, doing 2D? Like, I need to try to figure out what the style is. I would love to help with that. Like, if you're doing like concept art, if you're like drawing stuff and you need ideas for how to draw them, or like you want different ideas, like I can do that. Like, I think with the biggest help the biggest area that you have, the problem is like, you don't really have like an outline or like a guideline or like a story, He has this grandiose, all these wild ideas for an RPG, but there's no like point A, point B. Like this is how it starts, this is how it ends. Like there's
no structure.
There's nothing in between. And I go like, if you need help like writing whatever the story is, like what the player is gonna try to accomplish or achieve, because for the most part, games are like kind of like movies. Most movies have like a plot, right? Like and so like games are kind of like that too, unless you want to make this really, again, artsy game where it's not about that kind of stuff. Like, but like if that's what you need help with, like I'll help you with that. Like we can sit down, we can talk, and maybe I can try to like guide whatever your ideas and funnel them into like a formula or an outline at least, or like a plot points or whatever. And I think like, and then he messaged me back. He was like, again, super weird. And he goes, hey man, thanks. I've always appreciated your ability to understand stuff. And then he goes, I wish I knew what type of language to talk to you in right now. And I go, what the fuck does that mean?
You should have just responded, talk to me in Spanish.
And I think the way he means it, the way he thinks is either like logical or like this, there's another word, it's logic. And then there's like feelings or whatever. And like, he has this thing where like he tries to he talked to me like for an hour once at me for about like his like ideas. And I was like, Steven, leave me the fuck alone. Like I need to go.
Well, it's like between you and me, the way that we like try to express ideas is, I give a lot of long-winded responses because I try to be as detailed as possible and make sure you have all the information. And you're just like, here's this, here's that, done.
Done, yeah. Well, that's just how I work. I mean, but like, I think in this situation, he just has no direction, right? Like he's got all this stuff, but it's like he's lightning. He needs a rod, right? He needs somewhere for it to strike. Essentially, it's like maybe it can help him with that. I was like, I wanted to hit him up actually on a project that I want to work on for him to do the music for it. And he goes like, oh yeah, in a heartbeat. Whenever you need music, I'll do it. I was like, cool. So we can collaborate together. So that's something I've been like thinking about doing. And then he goes, all right, man. We'll talk about this more. And I was like, oh, fuck, I hope he doesn't do like the snap thing again, And then he goes, good night, Juan. And I was like, yeah, man.
Good night, sweetie.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, man. I was like, it's great. I would also like to talk more about this, to get together to work on this. Like maybe next time you hit me up on Discord, we could do like a voice chat or a video chat or something like. And he goes like, okay, cool. Awesome. Whatever. So that's just something that happened recently. I'm excited for wherever it goes, if it goes anywhere. But besides that, I mean, I'm reading a book called, I think, The Illusion of Life. It's what it's called. It's got this big chunky book about like the history of Disney, and like the people behind it, like who worked in it, like the animators and stuff.
Did you get that one at the museum that we went to?
No, I got that one at the beginning of my last semester of college. It was kind of like a suggested reading kind of thing. A lot of people didn't buy it because it's kind of big. It's kind of expensive too. And I was like, I mean, I'll buy it. Originally, because I'm reading like what's it called? The part before the book, like there's like they write, not the acknowledgement. It's like something before that.
Prologue?
Maybe. Yeah. And the guy goes like, originally when they wanted to make this book, they were trying to make a book that like taught people how to animate in the style of Disney, like how to animate like Disney. Because a lot of times people go like, when they're making movies, they go, yeah, it's going to be, an animated movie. It's going to, be about this and, kind of Disney-like, but nothing is ever really Disney-like because it kind of has its own thing,
Yeah.
So that's what they originally set out to do. And then when they were writing the book, like they were like interviewing people, like, old animators and stuff like that, they realized what they really wanted the book to be was like a record of like history from Disney, because there wasn't really a book before that. So they said, fuck it. It's kind of hard to teach someone how to do what we do without explaining to them who we are. And I've talked to my animation mentor about this before, because I have that book and also have a book called the Animator Survival Guide. Yeah. And that one's also thick and chunky. And I think that one's written by the guy who directed Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And I was like, hey man, which one should I read first? And he goes, well, it's like, one is for sure more like helping you fundamentals, like breaking stuff down and teaching you like, this is how you do this walk cycle, which is like the guide, like the survival guide. And he goes, and the other one is more of a story. There's a lot of good dialogue in it, a lot of knowledge and wisdom, but it's not that like telling you how to do A and B and C to get the D. It's like, it's just something you read and absorb and like digest to think, And he was like, so that one's a little easier to read, but the other one's also super like helpful. I was like, cool. So I decided just to start with this one. I think I'm like 2 chapters in. It's thick, so I'm trying to like make myself be done with things. There's other books I want to read also. Yeah. So I'm like by the end of this week I'm going to be done with this chapter, and by the end of next week that chapter. And yeah, that's what I've been doing. I'm having a real good time.
How many chapters is it?
I don't know. That's dumb. I didn't look. I just said
you bring up that it's a thick book and you don't even know how many chapters it is, since you're going week by week with chapters.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll look into it later. I forget how much I used to like to read. I used to read a lot more when I was younger.
Me too.
I think the thing is like, as you get older, your taste for what you want to read is different. Like I see some of the books I have on my bookshelf and I go, I remember reading that a lot. And I go, probably couldn't read it now. Like I'd probably be really fucking bored,
Yeah, because I mean, like, I'd probably enjoy rereading, like, all of the Harry Potter books that I have, and then maybe the series, Unfortunate Event series that I have.
I never finished those.
But I probably would never reread, and I'd probably get bored rereading, like, the Twilight series and stuff like that, because I read those when I was, like, a freshman, so, reading about vampires and werewolves and love was like a thing, and you're just like, oh my god,
you're so caught up in the trend. Yeah. I think that's how I feel also about like Hunger Games. Like I really liked them when I was younger. I don't think I could read them again just because like I watch movies and I remember watching movies and be like the book's better,
Yeah.
But then I feel like if I read those, I'm like I'll probably just get really bored with all this stupid drama and bullshit. Like probably if I want to read something like this, I'll just read Battle Royale, which is like a more mature version of that.
Yeah.
So I think it's just like my taste has changed. So for some reason, like this book that I'm reading, that's like educational or whatever. I'm just like, yeah, brain's like, give it to me. There are times where like noises around me like distract me. So like I'll read a paragraph and then like the dog starts like chewing on her fucking rope or something, and I look back and I go back to the book and I go, oh fuck, I just forgot what I read. So they go, let's do it again. So I'll read the paragraph again. But I think it's just I need to get back in that habit of reading and stuff. So
yeah, because I think like for instance for like the Hunger Games, like you know what's going to happen, so a lot of the excitement and the like, oh, I need to turn the page
it's kind of
thing
gone,
is gone. While as the reason why I think I could reread Harry Potter is because those books are so thick. There's a lot of detail in there. Like going back through and being like, oh my god, I forgot about all of this or whatever. Like all these little details that
it's like a treat. You go, ooh,
yeah. So there's so much more detail in like the Harry Potter world that I could revisit it and be like, I've totally forgot about reading all of this.
Yeah. Well, okay. Usually the next thing we do is like, what have you been watching an anime? Luckily, you and I watch the same animes, right? So let's do this together. Okay. I think the last thing we watched for Vinland Saga, which is on Prime, is Thorfinn has been like kind of added to the group of Vikings that killed his dad, and he like betrays. I don't know. Does he get stabbed? I think he gets like stabbed. He's doing like some recon and he gets stabbed, and then like
he got shot with an arrow.
Oh yeah, and then some like really nice old like English lady helps him.
Yeah.
I really like this bit about it because I don't know what he is. He's Welsh or something, right? Like he doesn't speak English. I mean, technically he speaks Japanese, right?
Yeah, they all speak Japanese.
Yeah, but the girl is
they're Danish.
Okay, yeah. So the girl that he's attacking is English, right?
Yes.
And she's speaking like in a language he doesn't understand. And he just ignores her. And I'm like, oh, that's super cool. He does understand some of it, but not fully. And I was like, oh, that's a nice touch. I really like that. Kind of like fucking Banana Fish was like in the United States, but they all spoke Japanese or whatever. And like, oh, you're a Japanese guy. I was like, yeah, you're fucking talking to him in Japanese, So I got a disbelief, but I did like that little treat. But anyways, he like burns down his shack, and then a raid starts of these Vikings coming in. I think it's the last thing I remember. And it's kind of just seen that like, I didn't think that was going to happen. I thought he was going to like maybe be nice and like just go back to the ship and leave or whatever.
Yeah.
No, but I was like, oh, and he started killing some people super brutally. He's using his 2 like daggers now. He's a badass. And I was like, oh no, this guy's for sure like he's a Viking. Like he's a fucking rape and pillage kind of dude,
Yeah.
The rape part, I really hope we don't get to see a lot of that.
I don't think so.
We saw like snippets earlier in the season where like women are being dragged away by their hair.
And they're naked.
Yeah, but we didn't see anything, which is nice. Like in the fact that I know that's what Vikings did. I'm not like saying they didn't.
I think that because there's enough knowledge out there of what Vikings were like that they don't need to show anything.
The forefront.
They just need to insinuate that this happened, especially like when the Viking guy, the head pirate, when he was like making that deal with other Danish people or whatever.
Leave us the women or whatever.
He's like, leave us the women or whatever. So it's like very clear that they want to take the women and fuck them and maybe kill them or whatever eventually. But
so I mean, that is I think it's a good call on their part if they don't show it too in depth. I mean, it is a thing that happened. What are you gonna do? That's what. But we can see that Thorfinn for sure isn't like a child. Like he's seen some shit. He's going to be a badass.
Innocence gone.
Yeah, for sure. So we watched that. We watched some more of the something maids. What are they called?
I don't know. Oh, Maidens.
Oh, Maidens. Something. Yeah. Something in our whatevers. It's on High Dive. It's the one show I'm watching High Dive that I really like it. It looks great, right? We got to the point where they're leaving to like some sort of like camp or whatever to...
Yeah, they do a little field trip to think of ideas for... some sort of
story that they're telling. It's like
it's like for like a cultural it's not like a cultural rally kind of thing.
I think it's like a festival or whatever. Yeah, like a sports festival kind of thing, but not
all the clubs are like doing something or whatever, and then their job is like they're gonna be like putting on kind of like a story play sort of thing.
And that they come up with some weird, what's the word? Like a folk tale or something like that, or I don't know. That's what they're working with, right?
Yeah, I don't remember what the exact word that they called it.
Yeah, but I mean,
kind of like an urban legend kind of thing.
Yeah. I still really like the show. Like, there's a lot of really cool characters in it. The way they deal with the topic of sex and like being women and all this stuff is like, oh, it's really interesting. I'm like, oh, that's what it's like to be a girl. No fucking clue.
Yeah, because I mean, most animes and most like movies in general, like usually it's from like the male perspective,
yeah,
or it's very general.
Mm-hmm.
And this is very like from like a female and young girl's perspective.
Yeah. Well, I know that it's
a little bit exaggerated, I think, in my opinion.
Well, that's because they have to make it fun.
Yeah, but it's a comedy, so they have to do it that way.
I know that there's this thing. I forget what the test is called, but like you said, a lot of times in like books and movies and stuff, a lot of it's the boys' perspective. Mm-hmm. So they have this test to see if like a lot of times in those type of movies or like pieces of like stories or whatever, girls will talk to each other, but they'll only talk to each other about boys to move the story forward.
Yeah.
So if one woman talks to another woman in whatever this is, like a movie or story or whatever, and they talk about something that has nothing to do with boys, it passes this test. Like it's kind of like the gauge if this like the shit's kind of sexist or whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So this for sure passes like with flying colors. Technically, Once Upon a Time when Hollywood passed the test, but just because one girl talked to another girl about like getting a movie ticket, like, oh, pass the test. They weren't talking about boys. So yeah, I do appreciate that. I'm not a woman, so I don't know what the woman perspective is like. I mean, obviously it is played up for it's a show, but I really like it. I think it's really great.
Yeah, I think it's fun. It's definitely very interesting how each character personality deals with sex in their own way and the topic of it and how they feel about it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we watched some more of Given, which is the gay guitar boys.
Mm-hmm.
They gay and they playing guitar.
They gay AF.
What are they doing? What's the last thing I remember? They were buying a foot pedal, right? Like a...
Yeah. And then the main guy is writing a song specifically, using like the weird...
inner song he has,
yeah. Inner song that he has playing in his head or whatever. He's like, oh, I'm adding chords and I'm going to write some other lyrics for it and you're going to sing it.
I think also another thing that happened was, I want to say that episode ended with like a guy that works at a venue talking to one of I think is the bassist about like, hey, you should play a gig at our show or whatever, you know. And then they're like, what? You want us to play at your show? And I think they're setting it up for something like that.
Yeah.
Also, there was the drama of like the girl who likes the broody guitar boy.
Like a Kiko or something like that.
Keeps running into him and the dumb, dim-witted, redheaded guy. So like, and she's getting jealous about their relationship. It's like, yeah, they're gay for each other. Let it fucking go, dude. Like, they don't want your shit. They don't want bops. They don't want your cakes. Let it be. I like that show. Again, it's not the best show. It's all right. But, I mean, I love love. So, especially Boy Love. That shit's fucking fire. We watched... did we watch anything else? Crunchyroll, Prime, High Dive.
We watched some of that.
Funimation. It's like from something to Strongest or whatever, World's Strongest.
Yeah.
It's the fucking edgelord McGee. He's got an eye patch. He's got a gun. It's fine.
That white hair.
Yeah, he's got that white hair. He's a badass. I don't think we've watched since the last time we talked about the podcast. I mean, I was on the podcast. I don't think we've got further than where we are. Like, the last thing I remember was he was saving the elf chick or whatever, and then he got, like, super boosted, and that was it. The elf chick, the vampire queen.
Yeah.
I watched some, Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in Dungeons? I think I'm caught up with it. They did a thing where they had, like, a war between familias or whatever. So, like, the goddess, both god and goddesses, like, fight. I think it was Hestia, which is, like, the main character's goddess, and Apollo. And he had a huge fucking, like, family, and then our main character, he was the only person technically that was part of the family. I think 3 other people, like the guy who's a blacksmith, the chick who was his support, the little tiny girl, they were technically part of another familia. They left that familia, they joined his familia, and then there's like a chick who's like a samurai girl who I don't fucking remember from last season. I honestly can't remember where when she showed up, like, damn it, do I have to watch this one season over? It's like, I don't fucking think so. She left her familia. She's now part of theirs also. And they got help from the elf chick who's like a part of she used to be a adventurer, I think, and now she works at the tavern. She helped also. They did the war thing. It was kind of lame just because it's the game that they picked to play was a siege. Like, it was by random. So like one was protecting a castle. The other person had to take the castle over within 3 days. Mm-hmm. So they started the thing and they instantly attacked. And before that, they had like a bit where there's a girl who's clairvoyant on the Apollo team or whatever. And she's like, don't let them in, blah, blah, blah. Like, everybody just ignores her. And she's been right about everything. Mm-hmm. And she says something like, oh, we've already lost. Like, the doors closed to, like, they're getting this, like, the castle ready for the night before. The doors closed. She's like, oh, we've lost, you know. The Trojan horse has entered. It's like, oh. And I was like, I get it. So his support partner, whatever, disguised himself as one of the Apollo kids. Mm-hmm. And then from inside was like giving them false information. He was opening the doors. I was like, oh, that's not as fun as it could have been, you know?
Yeah.
You know, our main character wins. And then Apollo, what he wagered was like, hey, if I win, I get to have Belle on my family because I love him. He's obsessed with him. He's like,
yeah.
And he's like, and if you win, you can have whatever you want. He said, he's like, write that down. They had to, like, a scribe write it down. Like, okay, cool, whatever you want. He was that confident he's going to win. Mm-hmm. So he lost, and then Hestia decided, like, what we want is, she asked for a lot. She's like, okay, he's like, your family has to disband. You can no longer be in the city. You have to, like, leave this city where all the goddesses and goddesses kind of chill. You know, it's like, mm-hmm. He's like, and we want all your properties. So, like, now they have this big house to live in or whatever. And, you know, they got a bunch of money and stuff. And then, like, people heard, like, they saw the fight, they heard about it, so they want to join her family, which is great. Like, there's some people that want to join her, but after remodeling the house,
yeah, because the Apollo Familia is pretty big.
Yeah, so they had a mansion, right? So they all these people show up to this giant mansion and they want to join because they like, cool, like, this is a new family to join. No one's ever wanted to apply for them. They remodeled the house, so they've gone through a lot of their money. One of the characters finds like this bill that Hestia has. She has a debt of like $200 million or something like that, and she has no way to pay it. So everybody says, we don't want to fuck
from
them.
Remodeling?
No, from she bought Belle a knife, like a good knife from Hephaestus, and like those are really expensive, and she bought it like on credit. And she had because Belle is, I think he's a demigod or whatever. Yeah. He's like the son of Zeus or some shit like that. So like she noticed that he has potential, like, but all his weapons were shit. So it's like, I'm gonna get you a really good knife, and so she did. And it cost a bunch of money, and everybody just left, and now there's like the 4 or 5 of them or whatever, and they're like, well, we're family now, we're gonna help you pay your debt, like that's what we do or whatever. It's fine, I like it, it's a good show. And then today I actually watched this 3rd episode of Dr. Stone, and guess what? They stoning it, bro.
The stoned.
I think the issue with it is, like, I really thought that you know, they were hyping this shit up for like ever, you know.
Yeah.
At Anime Expo, even before that, people were like, Dr. Stone's getting a show, everybody's super juiced. And then I think the animation quality is pretty fucking bad. Like, it doesn't look that good. I'm super surprised. I thought they would have tried harder with characters or making some slick animations. No, it's kind of shit. Story's okay. I enjoy it enough to keep watching it. I think I'm going to keep checking it out. It's not like mind-blowing. Dr. Stone's just kind of an asshole. He's just like, I'm the smartest. I'm going to make a gun. This is sulfur. Ha-boom, you know? They're like, okay, Dr. Stone. That's not his name. That's just what I call him.
Yeah, that's what I call him, too.
Yeah. That's it. That's all. I think that's all the anime that isn't the movie that we're going to talk about that I've been watching.
Yeah, the only other anime that I'm watching, because I've been meaning to keep watching, like, Fire Force and Dr. Stone, but I just haven't gotten around to it just because I'm busy. But the only one that I have been keeping up with is Fruits Basket that started last season, and it's just a revamped, restored, basically a version of a previous one that came out. But like I was telling Trip, that I think it was like the 13th episode was actually a little bit of new content that they didn't have in the last one, and so now it's kind of like a mix of like new stuff and old stuff also now. Okay. So I still like it a lot. It's very reminiscent of the old one. So if you like the old one, definitely watch the new one. The new one looks way better. The quality is way better. And I think the voice acting is way better also. But yeah, I still really enjoy it. I love it. I'm gonna keep watching it until it's over.
Cool. Good. I watched it for a bit. I did enjoy it, but at the point I was like, not enough to keep watching it by myself or with you. I was like, yeah, I get it. I get what it is. It's, not enough hot boys.
Are you talking about? It's like half of it's like all hot boys.
Not the ways I like my hot boys. They're not hot enough. They ain't hot enough though.
They got a hot boy for every flavor.
They don't got 'em.
They got the quiet, brooding boy. They have the loud, obnoxious one.
Nope.
They have he's black and white for a reason because he's like bipolar. And then they have like the girly, flouncy one.
Nope. They don't have the rooster. Don't like it. Not having it.
They technically do. We just never see them.
Not having it. Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's all the animes I've been watching.
Let's get into the news, and I'll let you do it because this is Trip's job, and I'm horrible at doing things. So, what news do you have for us in the anime world?
Well, I have some that are anime related, and then anime.
Okay, let's do it. Go for it.
So, first on the anime related news is a show we all know and love, Attack on Titan. It is getting it's a mobile game. Attack on Titan Tactics is what it's called. The pre-registration actually has gone live, so you can get it ahead of time, and then it officially comes out early this fall. So if you want to have a chance to know what it feels like living in the Attack on Titan world, then you gotta get that game on Google Play.
I saw that. Yeah, cool. Okay, what else?
The next anime video game that we got coming up is the One Punch Man, A Hero Nobody Knows. And so that's coming out I think it comes out in June of next year. And so it's coming out on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. And they actually released some new characters that they're going to be including in the game. Most of them aren't that big of a surprise. Terrible Tornado. They released her on there. Silver Fang. Not surprised that he's on there. And Atomic Samurai, which I honestly don't remember who that is.
Yeah, don't know either.
But yeah, so they released the photos and visuals for those playable characters. The last anime video game that is coming out is spring 2020. Persona 5 Royal Games comes out in the spring.
Okay.
And they released a trailer today, just kind of showing all the highlights of the characters and then just basically what the release date was, which is spring 2020. And but that's when it's coming to the West Coast. It comes out in Japan in October, though.
Okay.
So if you're in Japan, you get it on Halloween is when it comes out. And then a little odd thing is I always want to go on YouTube to see what these plays of anime actually look like.
Yeah, these are what are they called? They call them dramas or stage dramas or something like
plays,
that. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of these. Like
they've done a lot of them.
The most recent one that I think the first one that came to my eyes was the Naruto one, and I was like, dude, these costumes look pretty good, right? You know?
Yeah.
I think I know what this one you're gonna talk about, but this other one I was like, huh?
Let's hear it.
Is it Blockade Battlefront?
Yeah. So they released visuals of the new cast members, and I was looking through the pictures, and some of like the costumes and the way the people are dressed like look good. The other ones, like he just looks like a guy cosplaying. Is mostly like the ones with like, you know, the extreme looking hair. It's like the guy who has like kind of like the white gray hair. Yeah. It looks very synthetic.
Yeah. And
then like anyone who has like a really weird like hairdo, it looks very synthetic. So
I don't know like how these go on. Like, is it like kind of like a broad? Because so to my knowledge, I don't know if it's like a Broadway thing where like, yeah, they just kind of play at these specific theaters, or is it like they do kind of like, you know, Grease Live where they'll record it and then like air it like on the like at a movie theater, you know, but it is a play. Like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So I never really guessed. So I don't know if we could actually ever like go on YouTube and like have like a bootleg version of it or something.
I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look because I always think about looking, but I never have. So I'll definitely look. Probably, maybe not today. But yeah, I'm always curious about it because, like, I don't know, like every 2 or 3 months.
They announce
come
one,
out,
yeah.
they come out with a new one because they're coming out with one for Tokyo Ghoul soon.
I saw that, yeah.
And so I'm just like, interesting.
I think that Naruto one looked kind of good. The Blockade Battlefront, I saw a couple pictures, like, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
And it makes sense, I guess. Maybe it's cheaper to do theater than, like, to do a giant movie or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, from what I have, like, read from other ones, it's usually just at, like, a single theater. But I don't know how, I mean, I don't live in Japan, so I don't know how big those theaters are.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's like, oh, you know, we could, if it's, and I don't pay attention to really, like, how many dates are out there, because obviously I can't see it, so I don't really care about how many showings there are and stuff like that. But, so, another big thing, another anime that people know and love is Violet Evergarden.
Yeah.
And they're coming out with a side story. It's called Eternity and the Auto Memories Doll. And it finally released its main trailer about 5 days ago. And obviously it's a spinoff of the original anime. And it revolves around a girl named Isabella, who is a young girl from a good family who attends an elite ladies' college under a contract with her father. And then it's kind of about how, like, even though she's in this, like, really prestigious and, like, beautiful school and stuff like that, and, you know, she's doing her family proud, you know, she feels, like, trapped and, like, a prisoner or whatever. And so she loses all hope, but, you know, everything turns out all right as soon as Violet Evergarden arrives as her teacher.
Oh, wow. Okay. Shit. Notice me, senpai. I mean, if it's an OVA and unless it's on Netflix, you know, I'm not going to actively try to watch this. I watched the Christmas special or whatever.
I didn't watch that one.
I don't know if it's Christmas special, but it's just like they had like a new one for Violet Evergarden.
Yeah.
It was so fucking boring. I was like, dude, just give us season 2, you fucking cheap bastards. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think that, like, Violet Evergarden, like, the anime series was, like, it came out, it was a huge hit, and so now I think they're just trying to, like, earn those extra bucks and just ride the coattails of what the first actual season was a success of, and instead of giving
people what they want
is a whole second season.
Yeah, it's okay.
Which they set it up for.
We'll wait.
Maybe some of us will, maybe some of us won't. And another big anime, Haikyu, has come out with quite a few news things. So it's getting a 2-episode OVA, and they announced their 4th season, which comes out in January of 2020.
Yep.
So looking forward to that. And what I mean looking forward to that is probably Trip and Kyle.
Yeah, I watched most of IQ. I haven't watched the last season that came out. I watched a lot of it on High Dive. It was dubbed. The last season of it, the most recent season, hasn't been dubbed yet. So I'm just kind of, I don't want to do this sub. I'm so spoiled, you know. But
you are. I can attest to that.
Yeah, but if the new season's coming out, I probably have to finish this last one because it's a good show. It did take a while for it to grow on me. But yeah, that's great. I know a lot of people are excited about that.
Yeah, I tried watching it also. And I mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned it to you. I definitely mentioned it to Trip and then obviously probably Kyle because it was probably when they were rewatching it together. I hate the fact that their faces just pop through the net. It pisses me off.
Yeah.
It just looks dumb to me.
Yeah, well, you know, what can you do?
Yeah.
What else you got?
So I'm pretty sure Trip has mentioned this before, but they've updated some of the dates and times and so Promare, as we know, it is getting a screening in Los Angeles, but they're also getting big theatrical screenings in Canada and New York as well now. Good. Instead of just LA.
Cool.
And so it'll be in Canada September 22nd through the 24th. And 22nd will be English dub. And then the screenings on the 23rd and 24th in Canada will be English subtitles. And in LA and New York, it'll only be showing on September 20th for Fathom events and select theaters. And then in LA, they also have a big screening at the at the AMC City Walk Stadium 19, and that will be on September 17th and 19th. And that will just be, 17th will be English dub, and September 19th will be English subtitles. And then it'll be in select theaters on the 20th.
Cool. I mean, we saw Promare. We enjoyed it. It's really it's super anime. Like, it's not something like, if you've never seen anime before, this shit might kick you right in the ass. It's Trigger also.
Trigger and X-Flag.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, I would recommend checking it out if you're in any of those places that we just mentioned. And if we're lucky, if it does well, they'll probably do an even bigger release. Maybe you'll get it at a place that's closer to yourself. So, keep your eyes open for that.
Yeah. And then the last piece of news that I have is, because I know normally Trip doesn't mention, like, when they announce, like, oh, this show's going to premiere in the fall or whatever, just because, like, everyone really sees it and you're going to hear it and see it eventually anyways. But the reason why I'm mentioning this one is because I saw the visual for it, and I think the visual looks pretty cool. It looks like, and I watched the trailer on mute because I was at work. But it looks like it's going to be a crime drama, and it's called Babylon, and it's going to premiere in October. And so like I said, they released the video, or the promo video, the key visual. And the reason why I'm most excited about it is because it's going to be exclusively on Amazon Prime. And Amazon Prime so far hasn't had, like, any, like, super shitty anime. I know you weren't the biggest fan of Happy Sugar Life.
That show kind of sucked. I mean, but that season they also have, like, I think Banana Fish or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, or Megalobox or something. I don't know.
Banana Fish, yeah.
Point is, Prime usually does a really good job with. They don't have a lot of shows when they get them, but when they do get them, they're usually pretty good. So good, that's great. Babylon.
So yeah, so knowing that it's exclusively on Amazon makes me hopeful that it's going to be a really good one. The only thing I will mention is that when I watched the trailer,
not enough boobs, too much butts.
Well, it's mostly guys.
Oh, too much butts.
But I think their animation style is a bit interesting because they have, like, very, like, thick and prominent, like, highlighting on the tops of the hair.
Okay.
So I think that's a little bit
jarring, maybe.
Yeah, a little bit jarring, but it looked very interesting and intense.
Okay. Yeah, I think, and with the word exclusive on Prime, that seems pretty fair. Prime does a good job of, when they have something that's exclusive, it is actually exclusive. Like, there's a lot of times where we'll be like, hey, Hulu exclusive or Crunchyroll exclusive or High Dive, and they all kind of fucking share. So it's like, not really.
Yeah, or it's like, oh, it's on Hulu exclusively for like a week.
Yeah, and then it gets shared. Yeah. So Prime usually does a good job of keeping things themselves. They dropped Land of the Lustrous originally. It was an exclusive there. And I think eventually High Dive picked it up. This was like months, maybe a year after, like, the thing aired. So yeah, check out Prime. They do good shows. So okay, that's the news. We're gonna get to this week's topic. Like we said earlier, it's Millennium Actress, directed by Satoshi Kon, right?
Sure.
Yeah. It's done by Madhouse. It's the studio that does it.
Yeah, that was the one thing I did take note of.
Madhouse, I think, has done a lot of the stuff that he actually worked on in the past. Like I mentioned, some of the stuff he's done, Perfect Blue, which is something that you and I have watched, right? We got to see that one. I think it's like Godfathers of Tokyo. I don't know if you ever saw that one. It's like about these homeless people and...
no, I think you guys...
We talked about it, yeah.
I just remember you guys talking about it, but I never watched it now.
There's that one. Like I said, Paranoia Agent was like a show that he did.
I watched a little bit of that one. I never finished it.
I haven't finished it either.
But I really want to.
Do too.
But because newer anime stuff started coming out, I just prefer looking at, like, more polished and prettier looking animation.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's an older show.
But I think for, like, Paranoia Agent, it works really well for that type of story.
My issue with the Paranoia Agent was there was nowhere that it was streaming legally, so to go to like a shady site, and so it's kind of a hassle to download this stuff.
Anime.
Yeah, was one place. So I think maybe I was just so sick of setting it up. So if it's airing somewhere, if it's like, on Prime or Hulu or something, like, it'd be really cool to watch it. I do want to finish it someday. But yeah, okay, so like I said, Paranoid Agent, Perfect Blue, Tokyo Godfather. They also did Godfathers. They also did. He technically didn't direct Memories, but I'm pretty sure he animated and wrote the stories for one of the Memories is there's 3 stories in one movie kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember which one he did. If I had to guess, it's either the one where it's in space or the one with the guy that smells. It's probably the guy that smells. It might be the space one. It's for sure not the little boy with the military thing. That's for sure not it. But yeah, we had an episode where we talked about him in the past. Just about his movies and stuff. And I've always really liked the stuff he does. I think he's very interesting the way he does a lot of. Paprika is another movie. That's forget Paprika. I don't think you've seen that one. We should watch Paprika. Well, you
mentioned that one at the top.
Yeah. Though. It is the way he does stuff is very surreal. Very trippy kind of stuff. It feels like he might have been the one that created that kind of imagery, and we see it be adopted into other movies. Like he was the forefront of this kind of stuff. He passed away, like I said, in the 2000s. I'm assuming it's cancer because he smoked a lot. But I really like his stuff. And when we did that episode about him, I don't know how far back we did it. This was the one movie Trip and I weren't able to watch because there was nowhere to watch it.
Yeah.
And by happenstance, it looks like Prime picked it up. Fathom event was this week, I think on the 13th, and technically yesterday, which was the 19th, they happened to air. It was a cool kind of topical thing. I don't know if it kind of sucks that we weren't able to tell people ahead of time to check it out. If you were able to check it out, awesome. And if not, maybe keep your eye out for the next time it happens.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about what the story's about. Yeah.
Well, I think I told you
the way you described it. Yeah.
Yeah, the way I described it was very much like a Muppets Christmas Carol, where Gonzo's kind of narrating and kind of part of the story and following the main character around, which is like this one. There's these 2 guys who were interviewing the main subject girl, and they were following her throughout her life story, like a documentary. Yeah. But they also inserted themselves in the story. So that's what it reminded me of, and that's what it felt like, because I know Muppets Christmas Carol.
Christmas, yeah.
And but I guess I'll let you summarize it, because I will go way too long.
Yeah, you for sure will.
I don't know how to be concise.
Here we go. It's concise. So the story is about these 2 people who are doing a documentary or a piece about a specific actress who's been working on a studio that has now gone under. She was an actress for 70 years, something like that, or that's how old she is. And she kind of sequestered herself, or left herself from society.
Gone into hiding
after her last movie, and so no one's really seen from her or heard from her. So one of the guys who's in charge of the interviewing her has reached out to her. She's she has given consent to having an interview done. He has a gift for her apparently, and so they go see her. And this guy is a super huge fan of this girl's movies. He loves all her stuff. He's watching the movies, and he's repeating the lines and doing the quoting stuff.
Because since you mentioned that, also brought me up to another thought that I had when I was first watching it, because I knew this guy also did Perfect Blue. When I knew he was such a super fan, I was like, is this going to get creepy?
Crazy. Yeah. It doesn't get that creepy like Perfect Blue.
No, not at all.
So this guy
is definitely more of a fan in a more touching
It's a fan
way.
in a healthy way.
Yeah, it's I adore you, and I just want to help you and really get your story out.
And I really like your work, essentially. Yeah. So they go meet her. She has aged, we have, like I said, we noticed this character is super huge fan. The camera guy is less of a fan, doesn't really care, and he gets scolded a couple times about being respectful. And he very quickly presents her with the gift, which is this key on a necklace, right?
Yeah.
And she sees it, she's touched, and
it launches the story.
Obviously, this key has a story, and we get into it. And for the beginning part, she's talking about her youth and how she grew up as a child, whatever. She was never really planning on being this actress, and some director caught her eye, talked to her mom about it. Her mom was like, no way, my daughter's being an actress. It's not happening,
Yeah, a woman's place is in the home, making babies.
Yeah, apparently, I'm not saying that. That's not me. I didn't say it. She said it, but I agree. No, it's not true. Because I'm the woman in the home. I'm taking care of the baby. Anyways.
But yeah, I mean, this is like in a time period.
It's like the 1930s. It's like it's like really, it's back in the days, right?
Yeah, it's
very traditional.
World War II.
I don't know what war it is. Wars do happen through it, and I'll talk about what specifically the issues that they're going through right now.
Yeah.
So, this happens. You can kind of tell she wants to try being an actress or whatever. Her mom's not having it. She runs into a boy, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's actually I would say he's more like a man. Like,
yeah, I would say that she's a girl.
Like she's like maybe like a early teens, like 12, 13.
I would maybe say 14.
Okay.
But like
he's like a college
he looked
student.
like he was like 24 at least.
Yeah, he's for sure a little older. He's being chased by some people. She helps him out. They talk for a bit. He explains that he's a painter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's also a part of some sort of rebellion.
He's an anti-government artist.
And what he does actually is that he's rebelling against the war against China that they're having. Like he's not having it. And this is something that kind of comes up a lot in like, I feel like these foreign flicks. I've noticed it in like Chinese cinema and Japanese cinema. There's always like a revolution coming through, this one is like opposing a war in China. I've seen one where in China it's college students opposing like, I don't know, fucking really strict laws and stuff like that. Right now, Tripp told me there's like this huge stuff going in China, where like, or Taiwan. No, it's not Taiwan. There's a bunch of shit going on in China right now. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's against this war. He's trying to stop it. And they're talking and she ends up fancying him, right? Like we really don't get to see what he looks like.
No.
I think he's kind of like in the shadows. We see maybe his chin. We can't tell if he's handsome. And they do that on purpose. And,
Yeah, I mean, they do it on purpose, but I think it actually harms
the film. You think so?
The film in the way, because like, then you don't feel really like rooting for them because you're not like, because you don't see him, so then you don't have the same feelings she does.
I don't think that's a good point. But the way I think about him not being shown, I think
it would have been better if he was in color, like everyone else was. But they made him all gray.
Gray, yeah. What I liked about not seeing his face was that anonymity, right? Like, it's something that she's chasing throughout the movie, and she doesn't really know. We don't really know what he looks like, obviously. Mm-hmm. It feels like as time passes, she forgets what he looks like. It's just this whole thing. I really like it. I thought it was nice.
No wonder she forgot what he looks like, because he doesn't have a face.
He doesn't have a face, yeah. So they're talking. She kind of falls for him, and he's just like, I got to leave tomorrow. I'm going somewhere. He has the key necklace, and he's like, I think the line is something like, it's the key to the most important thing to me. And like, I think it closes the suitcase where all his paints are or whatever.
That's what we're led to believe, because she looks at the suitcase and she sees a lock on it.
That makes sense, right. So she comes back later. She comes across where he was earlier, and there's like a bloody bandage on the ground, blood, and then there's the key there. I don't know if there's anything written in the snow. Is there stuff written in the snow?
No.
I don't know, but they do promise to see each other again, like, I'll see you when I see you. She ends up joining up with the director. She wants to do movies. Her idea is that, like, I guess if she's in these movies, he'll see her and they'll be able to rekindle whatever this is, right?
Yeah, if she's out in the public, then it'll be easier for him to find her and maybe her to find him.
Mm-hmm. So she starts doing these earlier roles. She's introduced to a couple people, like the director's son, who's kind of a dick in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And we're introduced to like the current star that they have for the studio, who's like this beautiful woman. She's probably like in her 20s,
Yeah, Echo,
and
something like that.
She doesn't like the younger girl because obviously she's encroaching. She's encroaching on her territory. She's going to be the new hot thing for the studio. Mm-hmm. This is where the movie kind of starts diving into that whole like Kon like art style of like movie telling or stuff, where we start seeing the roles she's playing in the movies like become a part of the story, and are two, interviewers, a director and the camera guy, the interviewee and the camera guy are sucked into these like movies, and they're kind of like taken aback this whole time while this is happening. In reality, what's happening is, they're still in that room, and the actress is just being interviewed and she's just telling the story, like just,
Yeah.
you know, but they're so engrossed and so sucked into it that they like kind of become a part of the story, which was pretty cool. For a bit, I was kind of surprised, like, oh, what's going on here? And I was like, oh, because I thought maybe it was like some actual fantasy element. Like, it's like, holy shit, there's magic going on. I was like, oh, not really. It's more like
No.
they're just engrossed in the story. And then we go through a first, like, I think 3 flicks kind of done in like old periods of, you know, Japan. She's a princess at one time. She's a ninja at one time. She's like a geisha at one time. And we see reoccurring characters. We see the man who was had a scar on his face. Originally, in her real life, he was the copper detective chasing down this guy that she fell in love with, right?
Yeah.
We sometimes see this guy. He's always, you know, the painter. We see him, but he's shrouded in shadow. He's a samurai in points. Like, he's the prince at points. We never see his face.
Elusive.
Yeah. And so this story continues. We keep seeing other movies, and there's also times where we see glimpses of like her actual real life. You know, like, okay, so it's those movies. What else happens after that? I'm trying to figure out what movies happen next. I think they're just like puff pieces of stuff. You know, she's like riding a carriage, or she's riding a horse, and like shit like that. The one that I remember like after all that is like kind of this like, I want to say it's like really war-y, you know, like they're arresting this guy, and this is the one part where I kind of got lost. Like, is this real or fake?
Yeah.
Because
I couldn't tell either.
Because they're kind of like at this hellish war zone, right? And the people, I think this is real because they're like, she's trying to like leave and get out or something. Like, I think she's like in a bomb bunker or whatever, you know? Like, and like she's talking about how the people in the studio just wanted to make the best movies ever. They didn't want to get involved with whatever was going on. These like, I think that was real. And she ends up finding, I think, like a place where this guy could have been held. This painter guy was held, and she finds a painting of herself on the wall when she was younger, right? And it says,
the guy said that he's like, "Did you know that he left something behind for
he
you?"
did, yeah.
And then she was like, "What?" And he's like, "Oh, so you do know him, or
so
whatever."
It's a painting of her. Thing. It's on the wall though, right? It's like. So it's kind of hard. I mean, I think later on she has like an actual copy of the photo. I don't know if they chipped it off or took a picture of it.
Well, yeah, because the way it looked to me is because like the bombs had happened. She had finally like made it back to her family home because it was smashed to smithereens, along with her father's business that had helped get them along through life. But and it was when she went back to all the rubble that she finally saw that
this
piece.
Painting, yeah.
And I think she did like
take it off,
take the stone off, because that's what it looked like in the frame.
It could have. I mean, it could be stone, and you could just take like it could be brick. You take a brick by brick, and you chop the end bits off, right? It could also be kind of like stucco. You know, you could peel it off, kind of thing. Yeah. You could curate it somehow and then peel it off. You could also just take a picture of it, right? But yeah. Anyways, story continues. She's throughout her like life, and we're seeing her like go through all these movies. We see recurring characters and stuff. She eventually gets married to the director, right? After she loses her key ring. Yeah. Her key necklace.
Because when she lost the key, she lost her heart.
And all she's ever wanted to do is find this guy. She's in love with him, blah, 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 stuff. We also get introduced to the guy who's like doing the interview, who's a super fanboy, actually knew her when she was an actress. Like he's like an apprentice or whatever. And he's kind of like does whatever he's told. And she doesn't remember him, you know? She's like, and I think at first I was like, what a bitch. Didn't remember him. I was like, maybe he was just some fucking coffee getter or whatever, you know, like go get the sandwiches. And he was run. And I was like, I can remember that. But something happens later. I go, fuck this bitch. She's like there's no way, you know. Anyways, so she ends up marrying the director's son, who is now also a director in his own right. And then she finds like the key again, you know? Yeah. And it turns out that him and the actress teamed up together to just steal the key. And the older actress did it because she was jealous. The other guy did it because he knew that she would always be looking for him. Like that was on her forefront of her mind. She got upset. She ran away. Obviously, she goes back to acting. The last movie she does is this movie about like her going to space or whatever. And during this one, here's a big chunk of thing we forgot to mention. She was born. The day she was born, there was an earthquake that killed her father, right? Yeah. So she has this kind of idea that like
her life's tied to earthquakes.
Yeah, her life has this connection to earthquakes. Like, you know, he gave his life for her life. So anytime an earthquake happens to her, something big happens in her life, right? So throughout the movie, earthquakes happen. There's an earthquake while they're in the studio doing the spaceship thing, and she's like in in a replica spaceship pod, and like she's getting out of it, and then I think a beam comes down and is going to crush him, and then the interview guy who, you know, is interviewing her now but also was a part of her life back then, saves her, like jumps on top of her and saves her from being crushed by this rubble, right? And then, oh my god, it's like everybody's like, is she okay? Is she okay? You know, Chio or whatever her name was, like, is she fine? Like, they don't give a fuck about the dude, right? And then they take it off. She takes off her space stuff. She goes, oh my god, thank you so much. You saved me. And she looks at, like, I think, the reflection of something, right? I think it's like the spaceship, and
she looks at the reflection because she's still wearing her like space helmet, and then she sees it in the glass on the helmet, the old lady who's been taunting her the entire story. She
sees that she's no longer that young youthful girl that the painter knew, right? And that's it. That's when she kind of gives up on like acting and like, you know, gives up on finding this man, and she just leaves. Also, when the earthquake happened, she lost her key ring again, her key necklace again. Fuck. But our homie, the interview guy, picked it up, and he's going to save it. So now we're back into like the actual time. And she's just like, oh my god, I can't believe I forgot you. Like, you saved my life. I was like, yeah, you fucking bitch. Like, he saved your life and you forgot this. I was like, what a horrible person. And then they kind of wrap up the story talking about like, yeah, so, you know, what happened? Why did you stop looking for him? All this stuff, yada, yada. Also, actually, I think before that we missed a bit where like, there's like the actual policeman with the scar on his face comes up to her and like wants to talk to her, and he's now like, he's like amputated at the knee, he's blind in one eye, he's really old, and he's like, he wanted to tell her like
that he was sorry.
I'm atoning for like all my sins, you know, like I have this note for you that he, from the painter guy or whatever. She reads it.
That he arrested.
Yeah.
And he didn't let her see, even though he knew that she loved him and liked him and was looking for him and blah, blah, blah.
I think that the note says something about like, hey, I don't think we get to know what the note says.
No, it does. It said that he was sad that he had to leave when he did, that he couldn't spend more time with her, and that the place that he was going back to finish the painting
where it was, right?
Yeah, which was in Hokkaido.
Yeah, so that's why I get. She always gets like a little hint as to where to go next, right? So she just fucking runs out the studio to go do that.
Yeah,
anyways,
goes to Hokkaido.
There's another earthquake after she's done telling all these stories, after the whole like her being in the spaceship and the earthquake happening. Another earthquake. She ends up going to the hospital. She's like, she's not doing too hot. We get a flashback to our interview guy talking to the, you know, this old, you know, cop dude with the scar and the blind eye and the missing leg. And he goes, and he's like, yeah, I'm really sorry. It's like, you know, he goes, I tortured this man, you know, he wouldn't tell me what I wanted to know, what information I had, because he was a part of a rebellion or whatever. And I killed him, you know, he's dead. Like, and, you know, that's definitively right then. We know that he's not alive. But our main character, the girl, never gets told this knowledge or whatever, you know, it's just.
Yeah, because like after he handed her the note, she just left. Like, so he never got to finish. And which I think may have, well, I mean, obviously it wouldn't have been more of a story if she did hear that, but.
Yeah. But again, it doesn't really matter, I think, because like in her heart, she'd already given up trying to find him or whatever. And that's why seeing this key again brings back all these memories and knowledge and stuff. She's at the doctor's. The doctor tells them, yeah, it's fucking not looking good or whatever. They go in, they say, hey, you know, you're going to be great. You're going to be fine. And she's like, don't fucking lie to me.
Yeah, she's like, you're a horrible liar.
You're a horrible liar. And she's like, I know this is it. Thank you so much for like, you know, letting me remember all this stuff. And then he asks her like, you know, why did you give up? You know, and she says, well, I wasn't that young girl anymore, you know, but.
Yeah, I wasn't who he remembered. I wasn't who he painted anymore.
He goes, but then she has this last like dream sequencey thing where she's like going into the spaceship and she's going to fly away to find him like in the afterlife, like where she's dead, you know? And she says this line where she goes like, you know, my favorite part of all of this was actually like the chase, like trying to find you or whatever. And I was like, well, if you fucking find him, you said like, well, if you find him, it's all over, right? Like, what's the point? Yeah,
the whole part that you loved would be over. Yeah. If you love the chase, then why would you ever want to find him?
And that's how the movie ends.
You just be like, oh, I see him over there. I'm just gonna look this way.
Yeah, I don't want to make it weird. And that's where the movie ends. As a whole, I think it was nice. It's like a good like. It was good. I don't think it was one of his best or anything. Like I didn't like it. I didn't like it more than any of the ones I've seen before. I did enjoy it. I think it was like an interesting story. There's nothing too crazy about this one. There's nothing like dark and gritty besides the war issues or whatever.
Yeah.
The other ones always seem to have a little more like darkness to them. This one was, I feel like, on the lighter side of things in retrospect, because it's not like the happiest story, but it's more happy than the other ones I've seen. It does do a good job of doing the whole like, story within a story and like you sucking people in and stuff. Like I was like, oh cool, it's very like fantastical in that kind of sense.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. I thought it was really nice. The art style is old, right? It is from back in the days. It's done by Madhouse. It's still good. I think it holds up in the fact that like if someone were to watch this, like we did, it was like, you're not like, oh, what an eyesore,
Yeah.
It's for sure not as polished as any of the anime that comes out today,
Yeah.
At least the good anime that comes out today. Like you go put this apples to apples against like fucking, I don't know, Violet Evergarden, right? You're gonna be like, yeah, Violet Evergarden is way more beautiful than this movie, hands down, right? But I still think the animation quality and like the style and like, all that kind of stuff is still really good and holds up for what it is and for the time.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
One thing I've always also really liked about this guy is his like the soundtracks. I feel like they're very like, they kind of give a really good like feeling and vibe. And like at the beginning, there's like this kind of music that gets played and it's kind of plays throughout the entire movie. And at the end, it plays in the outro again. I know that Paranoia Agent does the same thing. I know that what's it called? Paprika does it also.
You're welcome.
Thank you. They do that also.
See, this is what I do when I'm listening to the podcast. You're like,
what movie is that?
And I'm just yelling at you the whole time.
So Paprika also does that where they have this recurring song kind of play over our like soundtrack vibe kind of go. And I really like it. I don't know. I wish I would have done a better job of like finding out who did the audio for this, like who's the guy in charge of like the soundtrack and the score. Because I've always really liked the ones that are in Kon's like movies and TV shows and stuff. So on that as a whole, like as a movie, I think it's really good. I don't think it's the best that he's made. I don't think it's the best movie ever. I wouldn't say like I'm like, oh, don't watch this. I would recommend this to people. Yeah. Right? Like you tell people about like, check it out. It's a good time. I don't think it's for everybody, and I don't think it's for every occasion. You don't go like, it'd be a good watch right now, The Millennium Actress. Like it's like not like kind of like that. You just kind of be like, got to be in the mood for like a slower drama kind of thing. Yeah. It also is kind of like a love story. My biggest issue is it was like, I love love, Sierra.
You love love.
I love love. But like the love here was kind of like very one-sided, I feel like.
Yeah, which is why I was saying that not seeing him was, to me, detrimental, because at least if we were able to see his face, then we would know, at least in the very beginning, how he felt about her, because like he would just tell her about stuff and we could tell obviously that she was in love with him, but you couldn't tell that he was in love with her until like when she finally got the note towards the end of the movie. He was saying like, oh, I wish I had to leave and blah blah blah. Then you're like, okay, well he did have feelings for her.
I think the detriment part, like for that love bit, is you do have a point. The issue I have with why I think not showing his face was positive was because he was shrouded in these shadows and stuff. He was able to kind of be in all of these movies, and like you not be able to see him. And it also kind of made sense when the whole thing where like she always wanted to see him and chase him and stuff. But as time wore off, and like time went on, it was like, she doesn't really remember him all that much. Like, he's just a blur. So it's like,
I mean, I think for that specific line during that one moment, yes, it just made it like, oh, I feel like they did the whole thing just for that one line.
I just think the idea of being like, you see someone that one time from afar or whatever, and then as time goes on, that image just kind of it gets smudged and more smudged, and before you know it, you don't even remember what that thing was. And that since the beginning, he was just a shrouded shadow. I'm like, yeah, I get that. Time passed, these feelings that she had wore away.
I mean, I guess ultimately that makes sense. Like, because like me as a viewer, I think it would have been better had we seen him, but she does mention that she doesn't even remember what he looks like anymore. No. So it makes sense that he doesn't have a face because she doesn't remember what he looks like. Yeah. But yeah, for me, like,
I get it. You just want to see hot boys, okay?
Like you were saying, like it it just didn't make me care about the love story. I wasn't invested in the love story.
I think that's what it is. So yeah, this is a quotations love story, but in my head, I was like, yeah, I mean, kind of, you know, like it's more like it's really about her life and her like journey and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, there is underlining love or whatever. But
that's what drove her journey, though.
Yeah. So that's it. I think that's all there really is to anything you want to talk about specifically about the movie or anything. Anything that you want to gripe with, anything that you want to like talk about positively that we covered that you think was great, like something needs to shine or whatever.
Well, now that you put me on the spot, I can't.
I can mention something. I really like the the bit where they're where it's the movie where she's a ninja. I thought was super fun because you know, the ninjas I know growing up are like Naruto, right? Like you know, obviously those aren't like traditional ninjas, but these ninjas are pretty Naruto-esque, you know.
Yeah.
There's a bit where she's walking and like I don't know, she's probably covered in some sort of stuff, and like a chain of people with swords come by, and they have that weird thing where they have like a basket, and there's someone in the basket, you know. Yeah. And I remember like that's back in the day that was a form of travel. Yeah. And they had a prisoner or whatever. She drops a smoke bomb. It's like a bamboo shoot that's shooting out smoke, and then she starts like kicking ass, you know, with her fucking shurikens. Yeah. And she cuts open the bag or whatever. The bag gets open, and she's fighting some chick with like a chain and like a, I don't know what they're called. It's like a little.
Well, I think the chick with the chain was in the basket. It was a trap.
It was a trap. Yeah, absolutely, it was a trap. But I'm saying like they were fighting back and forth, and then lo and behold, like the interviewee guy shows up dressed up as another. He keeps showing up in the movie.
Comedic effect.
Yeah, he shows up
to break up the story.
Yeah, and he protects her. But then her and the other girl are fighting in their ninja regalia or whatever. There's a good like bunch of shurikens thrown on the wall. Mm-hmm. There's a chain. There's at one point she does a thing where like she hits her and like a smoke cloud puffs and like a log falls, right? And I was like, oh shit, they did substitution jutsu. Holy fuck. You know, she has like the fucking sword at her neck. I thought it was like really well done. I was like, huh, what a change of pace, because before that she was like riding a horse, and before that she was just like, I'm just a princess, you know, like it showed that she had like a range in quotations as an actress, right? Yeah. So I thought that was a really nice moment. Talking about the guy that would come in and as comedic effect, because he would like take on personas in the movies, like he would just like dress up and like read the lines because he knew the lines. Yeah. More often than not, he would give this big speech, and it kind of boiled down to being like, "Go, I'll protect you, I'll stop you," and then the girl would already be gone, and he's just like still talking or whatever. Yeah. You know? And I was like, it was kind of funny, and then I was like, oh, it just kind of felt like a chore. I was like, I bet you that shit killed back whenever this movie aired. You're like, oh, that's so fucking good. But now I'm just like, yeah, fucking new joke. I'm bored, you know. But yeah, I thought it was a good time.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything in particular that I would like want to highlight, because I think you got most of the highlights. But I think I can tell you that like the part where after she gets the letter and then she starts making her long journey to Hokkaido, during that part I thought she was gonna get another glimpse of him. Oh, you thought he was still alive? Okay. Well, yeah, because we didn't know at that point. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it wasn't until that journey was finished that we found out
that he was dead. Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought like it shows her like going through all of this or whatever, and she's like trudging through the snow, and like what he was saying was that he wanted to finish his painting in the freezing cold snow until his body hurts, so that he can whatever capture it in the painting. Blah blah blah. And so, like, when she fell in the snow, I thought that, like...
He was going to show up.
He was going to show up and extend his hand. Like, that one other time that she thought he was going to pop up there because someone bumped into her like he had bumped into her earlier. Yeah. And she looked up. She's like, oh, is that him? No, it's not him. So I thought that...
That's where it was.
That's where it was, or that she was going to see him, or there was going to be, like, you know... another note or marker like, hey, you know,
I'm here, go there.
You're 10 years late, bitch.
I waited, yeah.
I waited, and you didn't come, and so now you gotta find me somewhere else.
We do get to see a glimpse of him actually later. She's in her space suit regalia. She's on the moon, and we there's like what's it called? The painting is there on its easel or whatever, and it's a snowy landscape, and we see like he painted himself in there, in the shadowy figure, and it turns around. It's obviously a big dream sequence.
But yeah, and he waves at her and he disappears, and she's like, "Don't leave."
But I get what you're saying. You thought it was going to happen like in real life, not
Yeah.
Another moment that kind of like is this real or not was the point where she was like on the train at a young age and it gets attacked by bandits or whatever, and the train kind of turns over. I wasn't sure if that's real or not. I think it's real.
I think it was real.
I think it's real because she opens the door and then she comes out and then she's in a movie, right?
Yeah, because I think, exactly. I think it was like bandits, aka rebels.
Rebels, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. I think there's nothing really else to say about the movie. Check it out. It's on Prime right now. And then keep your eyes open. I mean, if it's come to Fathom once, it'll probably come again. I know that, Perfect Blue has done that a couple times. So, if you want to check this out in theaters, check it out. I think it's always great to support these older movies as long as they're good. This is a good one, in my opinion. Not the best, but it's for sure good.
And you can hear on here whether they're good or not, so you know which ones to go see.
Cool. Okay, so that's the show. I think next week we're probably doing Cannon Busters, which is a new show on Netflix. It's done by one of the guys who worked on Boondocks. Trip gave me the option of watching that for this week or whatever, but I was like, I've watched a lot of stuff on Netflix. I've watched, let's watch a movie or something.
That's funny because he actually, like, before you decided on this topic or whatever, he texted me. He's like, "Oh, what should we do this coming week?" I was like, "Well, on a podcast like a few weeks ago, you said you guys were going to watch Seven Seeds."
I want to watch Seven Seeds. Trip does not want to watch it.
Well, it doesn't matter. The point is that you said
we might do it.
Yeah,
we probably should. But Cannon Busters just came out.
But then, like, Trip's reply was the same thing. He's like, we've watched so much stuff on Netflix. I've watched
so much stuff on Netflix
lately. He's like, I don't want to watch anything on Netflix. He's like, and I know Juan doesn't want to watch anything on Netflix. He's like, so we're gonna pick something. I was like, well, fine. I was like, but just remember, you did mention that you would have probably watched it. So
here's how it's going.
Maybe do that.
We probably will do Cannon Busters next week, and the week after that will probably be Crunchyroll Expo.
Cannon Busters, more like Ball Busters.
And the week after that, maybe Seven Seed, maybe. I want to see Seven Seed. From all I've heard, it's pretty bad. But I still like watching bad things because then I go, it was pretty bad. And I get to talk about it. But, maybe I like it. Sometimes I end up liking bad things. Okay, that's the show. Next week, probably Cannon Busters, probably Trip's coming back. Okay? If you like our logo. Unless he's dead. Unless we kill him. Yeah. This is a mission. Maybe we killed him. Hope he doesn't die. That's going to be really bad.
Or he dies and Jenny eats him and we never know.
We don't know. Technically, Jenny killed him. Anyways, if you like our logo, check out aaron.tivertops.com. If you have our theme song, check out Tom Nasser on SoundCloud and YouTube. I usually say Trip where people find us, but I'll do this because I don't want to pressure you. You can find us on Instagram at the Instagram Podcast. You can find us on Facebook, the Instagram Podcast. You can tweet at InstaRomanPod.
Because podcast didn't fit.
Right. And if you want to email us with any suggestions, any thoughts, anything, if you want to give us what your ranking was of Kon's movies. I think there's one more thing that we haven't seen from him. He did I think it's like a short film within another section of films kind of thing. I don't know where to find it yet. I'm still looking into that because I was looking at his filmography. I was like, have I seen all of these? I've seen most of those. Almost all of them. Anyways, if you want to email us at instagrampodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what's up. And that's it. Okay. Whew. This is bye from Juan.
And don't forget.
Oh, right, giveaway.
Yeah.
So we have a giveaway for it's the Sound Euphonium stuff that we got at Anime Expo.
Poster and sleeve. I
think it's out. I think it's done Wednesday, the day this airs, right?
As soon as this episode drops. But a little sizzle. We will be having a second drawing. Yeah,
Does it start that Wednesday?
No, I'll probably give myself a week.
Okay. We'll be having a second drawing for other stuff from Anime Expo. So calm down. But hey, to do the thing if you want it.
We'll sizzle that. The second giveaway has a little mixture of Promare and My Hero Academia.
All right. Well, she spoiled it. Okay. This is bye from Juan.
And this is See You When I See Ya from Sierra.
Hey, Cierra, don't forget.
Just add hot water.